The city's neon lights flickered, casting jagged shadows on the cracked pavement where he sat, legs crossed, a cardboard sign resting against his tattered coat. His eyes, hollow yet piercing, locked onto every passerby, searching for something beyond the coins they tossed. A black man, invisible to the bustling crowd, his presence was a silent scream against the city's indifference. Why did he sit there, day after day, unmoved by the cold or the scorn? What drove him to endure? The answer lay not in hunger for food, but in a grief so deep it could shatter stone. His name was Marcus, once a man of dreams, now a fixture on 7th Street, where skyscrapers loomed over his frail frame. Decades ago, he'd been a mechanic, hands stained with grease, heart full of hope. He'd lived in a modest apartment with his wife, Lena, and their son, Isaiah, whose laughter once filled their home. The neighborhood, vibrant with black-owned businesses, pulsed with community pride. But gentrification crept in, rents soared, and jobs vanished. Marcus's shop closed, his savings dwindled, and whispers of, "You don't belong here," from new faces, stung like salt in a wound. Racial slurs graffitied on his door became a daily reminder of his shrinking place in the world. When Lena fell ill, medical bills devoured what little they had. Isaiah, barely 16, took to the streets to help, his eyes still bright with a future Marcus could no longer promise. Then, one night, everything changed. A tragedy that left Marcus alone, his spirit broken. He became the man on the corner, his sign a plea not for money, but for something no one could give. The city moved on, but Marcus remained, a ghost tethered to his pain, watching the world that had discarded him rush by. Each dawn, Marcus awoke to the city's hum, his cardboard sign clutched like a shield. Hungry, it read, but his hunger was not for food. Passers-by, mostly white, averted their eyes, some muttering about lazy drifters or those people. A few dropped coins, their pity laced with disdain, unaware of the weight Marcus carried. Years ago, Isaiah had been stopped by police on his way home from a corner store, his hands empty, but his skin enough to mark him suspect. A routine stop, they called it, but it ended in gunfire, a mistake the city quickly buried. Marcus's world collapsed. Lena, already frail, withered under grief, passing months later. Marcus, stripped of family, home, and dignity, became the beggar they saw, a black man reduced to a stereotype. Yet he wasn't idle. By night, he slipped into libraries, using free computers to research investments, a skill he'd once dreamed of mastering. He collected discarded newspapers, studying stock trends, whispering numbers to himself like a prayer. Slowly, his small savings from coins grew through risky trades, each success a quiet rebellion against a system that deemed him worthless. But the city's cruelty persisted. A shopkeeper once kicked his sign, accusing him of scaring customers. Another day, teens pelted him with soda cans, laughing as he bled. Marcus endured, his resolve fueled by a vow to honor Isaiah's stolen future. His trades grew bolder, his account swelled, but his heart remained anchored to that corner, where he mourned in silence, unnoticed by a world that judged his worth by his skin. One winter evening, as snow dusted the pavement, Marcus sat on his corner, his sign faded but steady. His account now held millions, built from years of silent trades, yet he remained unseen, a black man cloaked in society's indifference. That night, a businessman, pristine in a tailored suit, paused before him. Unlike others, he looked into Marcus's eyes, not past them. He dropped $1, then hesitated, sensing something deeper. Marcus's gaze, sharp with unspoken pain, held a story the man couldn't ignore. The next day, the businessman returned, this time with a question, not a coin. Marcus, for the first time, spoke of Isaiah, his son, gunned down, his dreams erased by a system that saw only his color. The businessman, moved, shared Marcus's story online, a post that spread like wildfire. Suddenly, the city saw him, not as a beggar, but as a father, a survivor, a man who'd turned grief into millions. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashing, but Marcus's heart raced for a different reason. His wealth wasn't the victory, it was the chance to expose the injustice that stole Isaiah. The world listened, and the city that had ignored him now faced its shame. Marcus left his corner, but not his mission. With his wealth, he funded scholarships for black youth, naming each after Isaiah. He bought back his old neighborhood's community center, turning it into a hub for dreams the city tried to crush. The media frenzy faded, but Marcus's story lingered, forcing conversations about race, policing, and the invisible scars of injustice. He never returned to 7th Street, yet his presence remained in the murals painted in Isaiah's honor, in the voices of youth who now dared to dream. The city, once blind, began to see, though change came slowly, marked by protests and promises. Marcus, no longer a beggar, stood tall, his grief transformed into a legacy. His millions weren't the triumph, they were a tool to amplify a truth too long ignored. The world had seen a black man rise from nothing, but would it confront the systems that pushed him there? His story wasn't just about wealth, it was a mirror, reflecting a society's failures and the resilience of those it tried to erase. What will it take for us to stop seeing skin and start seeing souls? Do you too cry from a hunger no coin can satisfy?